Joong and Dunk's connection has all the right elements to make it unforgettable: mystery, creativity, and a deep spiritual bond. But is their relationship built to last or bound to face some powerful transformations? In today's video, we'll break down their astrology to reveal what's really going on between them. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Keep watching to find out what makes Joong and Dunk's connection so unique. Hello stars, welcome back to my channel where I analyze the relationship horoscopes of your favorite BL ships. My name is Beatrice, I'm a professional astrologer, and in today's video I will talk about Joong Archen and Dunk Natachai. Before we start, I must apologize for my strange voice. I have a sore throat and a few days ago I completely lost my voice. I just regained it and it's not ideal for recording a video, but I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. Should you have difficulties understanding me, please turn the subtitles on. Thank you for your understanding. If you've been following me, you know that I always start by analyzing the individual birth charts because they show us how a person acts in a relationship, what they look for in a partner, and so on. So let's start with Joong's birth chart. He was born on the 10th of March 2001 and is a few months younger than Dunk. His sun is in Pisces, a water sign known for its deep emotions and romantic dreams. Water usually gives us softness, emotional intuition, and makes us romantic in our relationships. But Joong doesn't have much of it. Besides his sun, only his north node is in a water sign. This means that while his heart may long for closeness, it's often filtered through a mind that thinks first and feels later. Air is his strongest element, which means he approaches love and relationships more with his head than his heart. He needs conversation, freedom, and someone who keeps him mentally engaged. Fire is also strong in his chart, and this adds a bold, passionate energy. When Junk falls, he falls fast and hard, but his feelings can burn hot and then disappear just as quickly. He loves the chase more than comfort. His Venus, the planet of love, attraction, and how we connect romantically, is in Aries. Venus in Aries means he's impulsive in love, drawn to people who are exciting, independent, and full of life. He might act first, then think later. But Venus was retrograde when he was born, which makes things trickier. Retrograde means the planet was moving backwards from our view on Earth, and in astrology that shows someone who may second-guess their feelings or attract complicated love stories. Joong wants everything to be fast and fiery, but sometimes ends up tangled in the past or pulled into intense emotions he doesn't fully understand. With Venus being retrograde, he might also be a bit cautious in love, or he wants to keep his relationships away from the public eye. Interestingly, Joong's Venus is in a beautiful connection with Pluto, the planet of transformation, power, passion, but also jealousy and possessiveness. This means that even though love may start for him with quick attraction, it often turns into something deeper, more passionate, and even a little obsessive. He doesn't just flirt, he bonds with intensity. His lovers will never forget him. But here's the twist. Joong's sun is in a tense square with Pluto too. This brings power struggles into relationships. He might feel a strong need to be in control, or he could attract people who try to control him. Love for him often feels like a battlefield between freedom and vulnerability. Joong has Mercury, the planet of communication, in Aquarius, the sign of originality and independence. He thinks in big ideas and values honesty, even if it shocks others. Mercury is right next to Uranus, astrology's rebel who can't stand boredom. This gives Joong a fast, quirky, and brilliant mind. He probably says what others only dare to think. But Mercury squares Saturn, the planet of limits, which means that even though he's smart and witty, he sometimes feels like people don't understand him. In love, this could show up as fear of saying the wrong thing or difficulty trusting that his thoughts are good enough. Joong's Mars, the planet of desire and action, is in Sagittarius, a bold, adventurous sign. This makes Joong passionate and restless. He wants love to feel like a journey. Mars is sitting right next to Pluto, making him intense and magnetic. When he wants someone, he really wants them, but again it might come with power struggles or emotional drama. There's something very special in Joong's chart, a rare pattern called Yod or Finger of God. It shows a kind of destiny or life lesson. Jung's North Node, a point that shows our life path, is in Cancer, the sign of emotional connection and care. It's pointing at Mars, Pluto, and also Black Moon Lilith that represents raw, untamed energy in relationships. This suggests that Jung is meant to learn how to soften, to care, to connect emotionally, even though everything in him wants to stay strong and independent. The Yod tells us he's not here for shallow love. He's meant to grow through love, even if that means facing his fears or letting someone in when it's scary. Finally, there's a little gift in his chart called a small talent triangle involving Juno, the asteroid of partnership and commitment, Mars, Neptune, and Lilith. Juno in Aries makes him want a partner who's bold, strong, and not afraid to fight for love. With Lilith and Mars in the mix, his ideal relationship is passionate, equal, and full of wild honesty. Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusions, is right next to Lilith, adding a deep emotional and spiritual layer. This means that Jung doesn't want just intensity, he wants magic. A bond that feels almost otherworldly, where truth and mystery live side by side. Also important, Jung wants someone who respects his fire but also dares to show their own. This is how the triangle influences his relationships, but since we are talking about talent, it deeply impacts his career too. With Juno being involved, his career is influenced positively when he works in a duo or in a group. With Mars in Sagittarius, he can find international success, especially if he does something out of the ordinary, eccentric, something that is even taboo, as Lilith in Aquarius shows. With Neptune in the mix, the fields where his talents show best are acting, music, and or dancing. With all this being said, no wonder that he works as an actor, that he became internationally famous as part of a BL duo, and that he also is a member of Jasper. But back to his relationships. What does this all mean for Jung in love? He may look calm or even aloof at first, but underneath he's full of heat, hunger, and mystery. He falls in love with someone's mind first, but what keeps him around is depth, passion, and truth. He needs someone who's honest, brave, and emotionally real, someone who makes him feel safe enough to open up. Love for him isn't just a feeling, it's a transformation. And the right person will help him become the man he's meant to be. Now let's move over to Dunk's birth chart. Born on the 1st of October 2000 with the sun in Libra, he has the natural charm of someone who wants harmony, beauty, and balance in his relationships. Libra is the sign ruled by Venus, the planet of love and attraction, so from the start, Dunk is someone who truly values connection. He wants a love that feels fair, kind, and respectful. But that's just the surface. Underneath, things get a lot deeper. Most of Dunk's planets are in air signs. Air is the element of thought, ideas, and communication. That means Dunk needs someone who stimulates his mind as much as his heart. He falls in love through words, long talks, and feeling understood. He can seem calm and rational in love, but that doesn't mean he lacks depth, because the real fire in his chart is hidden in Scorpio. He has a powerful cluster of three personal planets, his moon, Mercury, and Venus, all in Scorpio, one of the most intense and emotional signs in astrology. The moon rules emotions and inner needs. In Scorpio, it gives deep feelings, strong instincts, and a need for emotional truth. Dunk doesn't fall for someone halfway. When he loves, it's all or nothing. He doesn't open up easily, but once he does, he is passionate and protective. On the other side, he can become very jealous and possessive. Mercury, the planet of communication, is also in Scorpio for Dunk. This means he doesn't just talk, he sees through words. He reads between the lines, notices body language, and senses when something's off. But Mercury in Scorpio, squaring his Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusions, can make it hard for him to always trust what he hears, thinks, or says. Sometimes feelings blur facts. In love, he may imagine more than is really there or doubt what's real because it feels too good to be true. He needs honesty and clear emotional signals to feel safe. Venus in Scorpio shows how Dunk loves. This is a placement that brings magnetism, passion, and loyalty, but also a bit of mystery and intensity. When he loves, it's all or nothing. He doesn't just flirt, he merges. He doesn't want small talk and casual flirting. He wants a love that transforms him, a love that feels fated. And because Venus is in a supportive sextile to Mars, the planet of desire and action, his romantic style is not just deep but also careful and precise. Mars in Virgo makes him attentive and practical. He's the type to remember the little things, to help when you're tired, and to show love through actions, not just words. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful parts of Dunk's chart, the kite pattern. This is a rare shape formed by several planets working together. At the heart of the kite is a grand trine, a smooth flow of energy between his Sun in Libra, Jupiter in Gemini, and Juno in Aquarius. Juno is the asteroid of long-term love and commitment, so having her in the mix shows that Dunk has a natural gift for relationships that are meaningful and lasting. The air signs in this triangle show that these connections come through communication, equality, and shared vision. But what makes the kite special is the opposition, a challenge that wakes up all the smooth, easy energy. For Dunk, that's Jupiter in opposition to the Pluto-Chiron conjunction in Sagittarius. Pluto is the planet of transformation, while Chiron represents our deepest wounds. This opposition to Jupiter suggests that Dunk's love life pushes him to grow, heal, and face parts of himself he can't ignore. Love brings out both his light and his shadow. The people he's drawn to might challenge his beliefs or trigger old wounds, but they also help him evolve into a stronger, wiser version of himself. Dunk activates his full romantic potential when he's willing to face emotional depth, to get past power struggles, to heal old wounds, and to embrace the intense parts of himself and his partner. This whole pattern suggests that Dunk has huge potential in love, but only if he stays awake, honest, and open to growth. The easy flow of the grand trine could make him avoid conflict or settle into routine, but the opposition wakes him up and pushes him toward meaningful change. In short, relationships are meant to move him, not just soothe him. He also has something called a T-square, which brings a lot of inner tension and drive. Mars in Virgo is at the center, clashing with both Jupiter and the Pluto-Chiron conjunction. This shows that Dunk may feel pulled in different directions, between wanting things to be perfect, feeling things too deeply, and sometimes overthinking everything. In relationships of any kind, this could mean moments of doubt or stress, but also the energy to keep trying and to improve both himself and the relationship. Dunk might struggle between wanting to be careful and helpful on one side and being drawn to big, overwhelming emotions or challenges in love on the other side. There's another point in Dunk's horoscope that shows duality when it comes to love and sexuality. Lilith in Capricorn. On one side, it can show a deep sense of responsibility, hard work to keep relationship harmonious, and respect for traditional values. Or it can show a wild, untamed energy on the other side. In this case, Dunk might seem cool and in control, but inside he has desires that are bold, even rebellious. He's not interested in playing by other people's rules in love, he's writing his own. Some people with Lilith in Capricorn tend towards one of these sides, but most often these sides keep swapping. This could indicate an inner conflict between wanting to be rebellious and to live out his fantasies while still wanting to be a responsible and respectable person. Finally, his north node, the point that shows his soul's direction, is in Cancer, the sign of emotional closeness and care. This shows us that no matter how strong his mind is or how complex his feelings are, what Dunk is truly meant to learn in love is how to nurture and be nurtured. He must learn to soften and to accept emotional vulnerability. He's here to love deeply, to build a safe space for him and his partner, and to let himself be loved even when it feels scary. To sum it up, Dunk is a thinker and a feeler. He is magnetic, deep, and emotionally intense. His heart wants something real, something passionate, loyal, and transformative. He may start off cool and take his time, but when he chooses someone, he's all in. And even if love may not always be easy for him, it will always be meaningful. As we can see just by looking at their birth charts, Joong and Dunk are quite different, but that could be what pulls them together. Joong is fast-thinking and fiery in love, while Dunk is deep, emotional, and careful. Joong brings excitement and boldness, Dunk brings loyalty and intensity. Joong can help Dunk loosen up, while Dunk can teach Joong how to feel more deeply. But they will need to meet in the middle. Junk shouldn't rush and Dunk shouldn't hide his heart too long. So will they be able to find common ground? Analyzing just their birth chart doesn't tell us everything about their relationship. To find out more, we're going deeper. Let's take a look at their compatibility chart called synastry and at the couple horoscope called composite chart. This is their synastry chart, a comparison of their birth charts, with Dunk being the inner circle and Joong the outer one. What I can tell you from the start, the connection between Joong and Dunk is deep and complex, with strong chemistry and emotions running beneath the surface. When I analyze compatibility charts, the first thing I look for are connections between the personal planets. Even tense aspects between these planets are important in such a horoscope because it shows that there is a connection between the two persons. And let me tell you that JoongDunk have a lot of connections, many more that I've seen in other charts that I've analyzed during the many years as an astrologer. Even if we don't know if they are lovers, friends, or just co-workers, their bond feels meaningful with many signs of a strong influence on each other's lives. Jung's sun, his core self, forms a trine to Dunk's north node, which in astrology represents a person's life path or soul direction. This shows that Jung naturally supports Dunk's growth. I don't know their time of birth, but depending on it, Dunk's moon, the symbol of emotions, could also trine Jung's sun, which would bring an extra layer of warmth and emotional comfort between them. Dunk's sun flows well with Jung's Mars, the planet of action, Jupiter, the planet of luck, Neptune, the planet of dreams, and Black Moon Lilith, which represents the raw and hidden parts of ourselves. This means Dunk feels energized and inspired by Jung. Jung might bring out Dunk's courage, creativity, and even deeper emotions Dunk usually keeps private. At the same time, Dunk's sun is opposite Jung's Juno, the asteroid of commitment and partnership. This can feel like a push and pull between wanting closeness and needing space. They may see each other as possible long-term partners or may simply challenge each other's idea of what connection means. Their conversations might be tricky at times. Jung's Mercury-Uranus conjunction, representing his fast and unusual way of thinking, could square Dunk's moon depending on the time he was born. This could lead to misunderstandings if Jung speaks too bluntly and Dunk takes it to heart. But there is also healing potential here. Dunk's Mercury, the planet of communication, gently supports Jung's Chiron, the symbol of emotional wounds, so he might say things that make Jung feel understood and safe. In love or friendship, Jung's Venus, the planet of love, gets along well with Dunk's Uranus, the planet of surprises, bringing fun and attraction. There is a sense that they never really get bored around each other. Venus also connects positively to Dunk's Chiron, which could bring emotional healing through affection and care. But Jung's Venus square Dunk's north node, his path in life, which might cause tension around timing or values in love. Dunk's Venus, on the other hand, squares Jung's Neptune and Lilith. He might idealize Jung or feel drawn to him in ways that are dreamy but unclear. This could lead to confusion or mixed feelings, especially when it comes to the attraction between them. Mars, the planet of action, energy, and desire, is quite intense between them. Jung's Mars sits right on top of Dunk's Pluto and Chiron, 2 points that represent deep transformation and emotional wounds. This shows strong passion, but also the potential for power struggles or emotional triggers. Their Mars also clash, which can lead to arguments or friction, especially when they both want to lead. On top of that, their Mars and Jupiter, Jupiter being the planet of growth, confidence, and beliefs, are in tension. Jung's Mars opposite Dunk's Jupiter, and Dunk's Mars squares Jung's Jupiter. This can bring a mix of excitement and over-the-top reactions, like pushing each other too far, rushing things, or competing to prove a point. But Jung's Mars also supports Dunk's Juno, suggesting that even through challenges, they can build something lasting if they choose to. Their Jupiter and Saturn placements show a strong foundation of shared values and life lessons. Jung's Jupiter, the planet of growth, belief, and optimism, is in the same spot as Dunk's Jupiter and Saturn. This means they dream big in similar ways, but also understand limits and responsibilities together. Saturn is the planet of structure, maturity, and long term goals, and since Jung's Saturn is conjunct Dunk's Saturn, they likely feel like they are on the same timeline, both serious when it matters and capable of supporting each other's ambitions. Jung's Saturn also forms a soft trine to Dunk's Black Moon Lilith, which represents raw hidden emotions or truth. This means that Jung brings grounding or stability to parts of Dunk that feel wild or misunderstood. I said earlier that Dunk may sometimes struggle between being rebellious and his wish to be responsible. Jung could help him find a balance. Jung's Jupiter also forms a trine to Dunk's Neptune, the planet of dreams, intuition, and fantasy. This creates a hopeful, even magical connection between them. Together, they can inspire each other to believe in something greater, like a shared dream or a creative path. This aspect has also a positive effect on their career as actors. At the same time, Jung's Neptune is exactly conjunct Dunk's Juno, the asteroid of commitment and partnership. This adds a dreamy, idealistic quality to how Dunk sees Jung as a possible partner. It might feel spiritual or fated because Jung easily understands what Dunk is seeking in someone close. Jung's Black Moon Lilith is also close to that point, which makes things a little more intense. This adds attraction and mystery, maybe even obsession at times. Lilith brings out deep hidden feelings, and when it touches Juno, it can make bonds feel powerful, seductive, or a little forbidden. Jung's Lilith also trines Dunk's Jupiter and forms a sextile to Dunk's Pluto-Chiron conjunction, which means that this mysterious, bold energy can help Dunk grow, heal, or face emotional wounds, especially those related to power, shame, or trust. Finally, Jung's Juno forms a supportive sextile to Dunk's Jupiter and a healing trine to Dunk's Pluto-Chiron conjunction. Jung may see potential for a meaningful bond and bring optimism into the connection. Together, JoongDunk might go through emotional transformation, learning to trust and care more honestly. Even if they aren't in a romantic relationship, these aspects show a strong spiritual link where both people could help each other grow and heal in powerful ways. Overall, JoongDunk's synastry reveals a strong mix of both easy and tense aspects. They support each other's growth and healing, but they also challenge each other in ways that could push buttons or bring important changes. Whether they stay friends, grow into love, or become something else entirely, their bond is anything but ordinary. Joong and Dunk's composite chart, the horoscope of the relationship itself, shows a connection full of ideas, ambition, and shared movement towards something bigger. The strongest element is air, which means their bond is built on communication, mental stimulation, and understanding each other through words, thoughts, and shared vision. Fire is also strong, adding passion, motivation, and excitement. But there's almost no water, which is the emotional element. This could mean feelings don't always come naturally, or one of them might sometimes feel something is missing when it comes to deep emotional bonding. Still, this doesn't make the connection cold, just more focused on action, plans, and shared goals. The composite sun, which shows the core of their relationship, is in the very last degree of Sagittarius. This degree is known as critical, meaning it holds a lot of pressure but also potential. Sagittarius is the sign of expansion, adventure, and often international success, so this connection might push them to grow far beyond what either could do alone, especially in public, creative, or global work. The Sun is conjunct composite Mercury, the planet of communication and thought, which adds to their talent for talking, dreaming big, and thinking far ahead. They may naturally brainstorm, tell stories, or explore new ideas together. This conjunction also brings positive energy when it comes to acting, being in the spotlight, talking to fans and the media, as well as representing brands. Composite Mars, the planet of action and desire, is in Libra and makes helpful angles to both the Sun and Mercury. This means they don't just talk, they act. They know how to support each other in taking steps forward, especially in ways that involve beauty, harmony, or collaboration. Mars also forms a trine to Uranus in Aquarius, the planet of surprises and freedom. Together, they are energized to do things differently, maybe in creative work, friendship, or causes that feel exciting and new. There's room here for a dynamic, progressive kind of connection, especially if they give each other space to be themselves. The composite moon, which represents feelings and instincts, is most probably in Libra. Only if both Joong and Dunk were born after 11 p.m. or 23 o'clock, their composite moon would be in Scorpio. If the moon is in Libra, as I believe, it's close to Mars, showing emotional energy that is graceful but can sometimes flare up if they disagree on fairness or balance. Libra values peace, but when upset, it can become sharp. Composite Venus, the planet of love and connection, is in Capricorn. This shows loyalty, patience, and care that builds over time. Venus is in a tense angle with Mars, which in couple horoscopes adds attraction, especially sexual attraction, but also friction. JoongDunk might sometimes push and pull, feeling drawn to each other, but also needing space or dealing with clashing styles. However, Venus also forms a gentle trine to Saturn, the planet of structure and maturity, which helps stabilizing things. Even if they disagree, they can easily find their way back to respect and responsibility. Jupiter, the planet of growth and optimism, is in Gemini and forms a square to Juno, the asteroid linked to commitment and partnership, which is in dreamy Pisces. This could show a difference in what they each expect from a relationship. One might want freedom and variety, while the other dreams of something more ideal or emotional. It doesn't mean that they can't meet in the middle, but they may have to talk through what they really want. Black Moon Lilith in Aquarius is close to both Venus and Neptune. Neptune inspires dreaming, creativity, spirituality, and deep imagination, but it can also bring a sense of illusion or idealism, making things feel more perfect or magical than they might actually be. This connection between Lilith and Neptune adds a mysterious magnetic quality to their bond. They might feel attracted to each other in ways that are hard to explain, like a spiritual pull or a shared creative spark. They are drawn to explore the unknown and unconventional together, embracing each other's uniqueness. This aspect may even lead to a secret relationship where they feel free to be themselves away from outside restrictions. In my opinion, if they were to be in love, they wouldn't make their romantic relationship public. With this aspect, their bond can be creatively inspiring, but they might also need to stay grounded to avoid misunderstandings, as Neptune's influence could blur the line between fantasy and reality. Fortunately, Saturn in Taurus makes a trine to Lilith, which helps ground those wild or deep feelings in something steady. It also helps JoongDunk to remain connected to the reality. Composite Jupiter trine Neptune creates a harmonious flow of energy between expansion and dreams. Jupiter is the planet of growth, abundance, and optimism, while Neptune represents imagination, spirituality, and the dream world. Together, they inspire a sense of shared vision and creativity. This aspect suggests that Joong and Dunk share a deep spiritual or creative bond with similar ideas and a mutual sense of purpose. Their connection encourages growth, exploration, and a shared vision, making their relationship feel uplifting and inspiring. In their composite chart, Juno in Pisces forms a sextile to asteroid Fortuna in Capricorn, creating a harmonious balance between love and luck. Juno represents commitment and partnerships, while Fortuna brings good fortune and money. This aspect suggests that Joong and Dunk's connection has a sense of destined good fortune, where their bond could bring stability, positive opportunities, and wealth. However, Juno square Pluto in Sagittarius adds intensity and transformation to their relationship. Pluto's influence can bring deep, sometimes challenging changes, especially in how they commit to each other. This aspect may push them to face power struggles, emotional growth, and the need for transformation in their relationship. Luckily, transformation is something that should feel easy for them. Their Uranus, the planet of rebellion and changes, is connected to Chiron, the asteroid of healing. This means their connection could help each other break old patterns and feel freer, while also helping to heal past wounds. Last but not least, the composite North Node is in Cancer, a sign of care, comfort, and emotional safety. Even though their chart is more about thought and action, deep down this connection is meant to teach them how to feel, love, nurture, and protect what really matters. Whether they are friends, partners, or co-workers, their bond holds the potential to grow into something really meaningful. Now you know everything I can tell you about JoongDunk. If you stick around during the next few weeks, you'll find out more about Earth Mix, Smart Boom, Joska Win, Gemini 4th, and Ompa Watt's ideal new partner. Subscribe to my channel and turn the notifications on if you don't want to miss these videos. Until the next time, shine bright like the stars.